Hello across the multiverse. I wonder if our signals reached Pluto yet. Welcome into Richard and Carl present Deep Space and Dragons. Pluto is not a planet. I'm Richard, hating on Pluto for no particular reason.
And I am Carl. And I mean, that's 7.5 billion kilometers away. So I don't know. The far 4.5 to 5.5 hours to travel between Earth and Pluto. So, I mean, this podcast hasn't reached Pluto yet.
I mean, unless someone's picked it up and carried it for us, like just a convenient alien pirate radio station.
Oh yeah, but they're not getting this episode for at least 4.5 hours.
So, this kind of reminds me of a comic I saw this morning. And it was the
Mhm.
idea that someone deprogrammed his buddy, a flat earther, by explaining if the flat Earth was flat, the edge would be commercialized to make money. There is no version of reality
Mhm.
where Disney World wouldn't build a park on the edge of the world. So
Mhm.
apparently, if you take a crazy phenomenon and explain if it worked, companies be using to make a killing in blank, it
Right.
kind of is the most rational argument you can make to someone in their conspiracy. Because Carl,
Okay.
if remote viewing and dowsing worked, would
hmm
the oil companies not be employing these psychics at mass?
Oh, they definitely would.
Right? Like, for example, if auras, homeopathy, and remote prayer worked to heal people, would Big Pharma not have like a weird dystopian, kind of like a child labor factory where people are forced to pray towards their leaders to heal them? Like, there would be, I kid you not, if prayer healed wounds magically, which I'm not saying that religion is wrong. I'm saying that faith healing, if it was proven effective, there would be horrifying camps set up that did nothing but pray for the well-being of a certain political figure, and then somehow be inexplicably alive despite living a life of cheeseburgers.
Well, I mean,
I know, right? I decided to like put a little spin on that and make people really question the tenets of reality here. So since I do not have dowsing powers, allegedly, what's new with you?
Uh, well, so I mean, not so new with me. I bought the Mysteries of Candlekeep anthology book for D&D.
This has come up surprising
Hey,
frequency.
well, yeah, well, you see, because I want to actually use the content that I purchased, so I started a D&D campaign, and then it fell apart because
You
I had
didn't play
surgery.
Daggerheart, yes.
Those freaking vampires.
Uh,
Anyways, um, side note, I don't think there's any proof that I ever had a spleen.
so there's a friend of mine who has, I think it's anaphasia, where they can't picture something in their head,
Okay.
and they made a very good point. Does it not make more logical sense that the rest of us are lying about hallucinating vivid 3D images in our brains? Like the idea that our eyes move over the text on a paper, which tricks our brain into hallucinating a dragon. How are we the ones being like, oh, it's crazy you can't do this? No, 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 no. It's insane that you can. I don't believe you. I thought it was a figure of speech where people are like, oh, I can picture it. They were just yapping. And I'm like, from a rational point of view, it is weirder that we all can, like, not we all, but like a decent percentage of people have varying powers of self inflicted image hallucination. Is actually like, yeah, us being full of crap is simply the more rational explanation.
Well, anyways, the point of the matter is that my D&D campaign fell apart.
Oh, I need to give a
And
disclaimer. To those listening to Richard and Carl present Deep Space and Dragons, there is no point. There's never been a point. We're a comedy podcast. Don't sue us. Don't take us seriously. But I do need to mention that one time Wizard of the Coast sent Pinkerton mercenaries to receive booster packs. Look it up.
uh,
I just can't let them get a free pass on that. They can get a free pass on a lot. Like, yeah, Candlekeep Mysteries is a great book, but they did send the villains from Red Dead Redemption 2 to recover booster packs once. That did happen.
anyways, I waited for a while to see if my D&D campaign would start up again, and then I found a different group and restarted my campaign. But obviously, I don't want to run the exact same adventures. The first
I
time around, I
disagree with
ran.
that philosophy, but I'll get back to you on that.
But so the first time around, I ran the Joys of Extra Dimensional Spaces from Candlekeep Mysteries,
Yeah.
which is 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Everybody should play that adventure. It's so good.
I think I mentioned I've used
Uh,
that one in both Daggerheart and Shadow Dark and 5e.
yeah, it's just such a well-written adventure. Um, and absolutely fantastic.
Although I do need to give a disclaimer.
Um,
So I do love running different groups through the same campaigns because I get great joy in watching different people tackle the same problems. Like, the party literally stole the rat god statue out of the shrine and teleported it out into the hallway and then just had this awkward 8-foot tall rat god statue at the bottom of a stairwell.
yeah, okay.
And it's like total dog with a license plate. They actually stole it and then weren't sure what to do with it. So they had this petrified rat god statue. And this ends with blowing it up to free the god and then thousands of rats fleeing. But the rat god offered them a moral choice you never got, which was, would you, everyone who's so what they learned about the lore that you didn't, was the the ratification was actually curing their wounds. So people who were injured, like had a chopped off arm, would grow back a rat arm, or if you had a cut, it would recover by being ratified, right? So the more were-rat you were, the more of your illness it was suppressing.
Okay.
So the rat god said, you have an option. I can either drop my blessing and everyone gets all their injuries back, or I can turn everyone who's cursed fully into a rat and they're healed completely. What do you choose?
Oh. So what did they choose?
This ends with 8 characters dying in this hospital.
Oh, no.
And then I went around the table and in Daggerheart style, I went like, tell me 2 people who died. And the first person's like, well, the first guy beats his wife.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And the second one is just, and then basically describes, you know that dude who's been like stealing the blood of the youth to try and unage himself?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was. I see what you're doing here. The people I'm trying to make this tragic. You're like, actually, the worst 2 terrible people died, and I feel fine. And then the other party members didn't quite commit to that bit, but I do find it funny to be like, describe who died as like just an awful person. Like, damn you got me.
Where my playthrough, I managed to release the plague and petrify everyone in the sewers. So I've already died in my playthrough too.
But what's really technically everyone in your playthrough is cryogenically frozen. But also the rat god itself was petrified, and it was trying to like talk people into freeing it.
Right.
So they stole the entire statue out of its shrine, thinking it would depower it, which it did, and then just had it awkwardly at the bottom of a stairwell and weren't sure what to do with it from there.
You don't think that party would have plenty of experience with statues?
Instead, they blew it up.
Considering how poorly they treated Philip when he got petrified.
To be fair, that is kind of what they did for this thing too. Is they shattered the petrification, for releasing it across the world. I was role playing it too, being like, it's the god of plagues and plenty, plagues and plenty, or plenty of plagues. And then like the one party member being like, plagues are natural, and the other one's being like, I don't think we should release the plague god. Like, I understand your argument that we should save and protect the spirits. I don't know if we should release the plague god onto the world. That could be bad.
But anyways,
I need to end the story and I'll let you continue. So,
okay.
Of the 7 kingdoms under the Empire, I on the spot made the kingdom ruled over by Lord Alberta, which sealed away the rat god and prevents all rats from crossing into his borders.
I like it.
And after 100 years of keeping all rats out of their territory, the plague god is sending the full force of every rat in the continent towards this one city that imprisoned him. And I thought you'd really appreciate this idea that the rats, after being kicked out of Alberta, reunited and are launching an attack of mass scale for vengeance. Tell me you wouldn't watch that Disney movie. That'd be great.
That is a great movie. Or would be a great movie.
But please, continue. I completely derailed that, and I'm fine with it.
So, I mean, yeah, I really do enjoy the Joys of Extra Dimensional Spaces, but there are several adventures in the book. And I ran one adventure. It's called Shemshime's Ride.
That sounds familiar.
Shemshime's bedtime round. And the plot of this one is that the party gets quarantined in an inn known as the Firefly Cellar,
Okay.
because everybody wakes up in the morning and they're humming a cursed tune. And so then someone who recognizes the cursed tune is like, okay, we got to quarantine this and figure out what's going on before it spreads to the rest of the Candlekeep. So they lock the door and everybody has to try and solve the mystery of what's going on with this cursed tune.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that I like the Joys of Extra-Dimensional Spaces is a mystery, but it's also like it's very straightforward what your objective.
You know what it actually is? So it's not a mystery, like just the Candlekeep Mysteries. What the campaign actually is it's actually Doctor Who episodes.
Okay.
It is, you come across the weird thing of the week, you go explore a location, you learn to view different people from different perspectives, and then you go back on your adventures. It is so structurally similar to like Doctor Who or Star Trek episodes, where it's not really a mystery, it's a explore a thing, explain a phenomenon. Like, I'm thinking about it's an episode of Lower Decks where they turn on a machine that emits strange energies that turns one of the characters into a floating head, and then they have to crush him with a boulder. And that's the kind of adventure that I think would fit in nicely in how they wrote the Candlekeep Mystery Adventures. If you go to a planet, clean up the painting, it activates an ancient mural, it turns an NPC into a floating head, and then you have to crush their body with a boulder, and then take them back. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose so. The first time I ran the adventure, I don't know exactly what went wrong, but it just didn't run very smoothly. I ran it with a different party a long time ago. This time, I feel like the adventure ran much more smoothly, but even once the party had all the information that you're supposed to get on how to defeat Shemshime, they would never have figured it out if I didn't tell them, basically. Like, I didn't exactly tell them, but it's like, oh yeah, the Shemshime needs to be crushed by something heavy. Roll for history, and then they roll for history. It's like, and you remember that there's this giant hanging sculpture of a book that you could break the chains to drop on him to kill him. I mean, I wasn't that straightforward, but
I was with my rat god.
I felt like the mystery, like the clues that led up to solving the mystery and the mystery itself, like, because the adventure is divided into several events, and you can just choose when you want the events to happen to move the story along. But like the clues and the breadcrumbs that they're supposed to follow, just don't really feel like they actually help them solve the mystery very effectively.
Okay.
Of how to defeat the ultimate evil guy.
Well, it's kind of like, and we talked a little bit about this when we ran that adventure, but remember how they called it like the quantum culprit, where you didn't decide who was the guilty person until the party had reasonably suspected someone as the guilty person?
Right, yeah. When we did Daggerheart, and that was the jewel thief.
Wish thief.
Special.
Yeah.
Wish thief.
Yeah. So it's this idea that when you're running a campaign for someone, the solution to the puzzle should probably be the most interesting thing they come up with. Or, if you want to be spicy with it, the second or third most interesting thing, because you're allowed to have them invent their own red herrings. But it should be within the range of things they came up with. And if you didn't design it in a way for them to reach the conclusion you wanted them to reach, I typically just let them have it if it's close enough.
Well, it's like you say, it's hardly even really like a mystery per se. Like there's no actual crime. It's just everyone's cursed. How do we solve it? And I don't know if that.
And it turns out there's cheese in the gel packs on the Voyager ship. And they had to breed the mongooses to eat the cheese to clear out the ship to continue their way back to the Delta Quadrant. I don't actually remember how that episode ended. I just remember that Cheese was messing with their electronics.
In any event, like I said, Joys of Extra Dimensional Space is a great adventure. Shemshime's Bedtime Ride, it's okay, it's fun. But I don't. The one heist adventure I ran from the Keys of the Golden Vault was very, very much so a heist. And
Oh
it
yeah.
was like it had all the elements of a heist, and it was.
Oh
The
man, was
players
Dragon
were.
Deep Water not a heist at all. Ugh. 0 out of 10 for branding on that one. You gotta change the name to something that made sense. Because they're like, here's our 4 villains. And I'm like, it wasn't a heist. No heisting happened.
Mm-mm.
It was more like Water's Deep plays the cops.
But the heist book seems like it gets the flavor right on point. Where the Candlekeep Mysteries kind of comes off more as like paranormal investigators.
And I'm gonna throw some shade at Daggerheart right now, because I usually am pro Daggerheart, but hey Daggerheart, we'd be talking about your adventures, if you had any. I still think like it's kind of wild. Like we watched this quick start guide, and they're like the Any Awards are going, where people are like voting for like gaming's best project. This that I'm like, their quick start guide is really good. It's probably gonna win an award. Shame there's no adventure that goes with it. I mean, you could download mine, but like I'd like to see how. I would have really liked a template of what an adventure looked like before I tried making one. That would have been great.
Yeah.
Like, I still don't know how I would do a dungeon in Daggerheart, because I haven't seen a dungeon in Daggerheart.
But the point of the matter is that not like the Candlekeep Mysteries definitely has their place, and I haven't played through all of the adventures. Most of the ones that I have, I actually like do enjoy. Although, like say, Paranormal Investigator is not exactly a mystery.
Well, what's funny is like there's full paranormal investigator games like Eldritch Horror, Candela Obscura, etc., etc. Like Paranormal Investigator is like a very solid genre. Like, give it like, we're gonna run in like, you make it happen in noir era Chicago. You make everything black and white or sepia toned, and you have like Cthulhu in the background. There's like, that's a solid genre for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Although I do find for those kind of things that you want to drop the player count down. Like, an investigation is dependent on how much your players are investigators by nature.
Right.
Where, like, D&D, as we kind of talked about when we were talking about how no one ever wants to actually play D&D as D&D, except when they do, it's their favorite form of D&D, is when you're like, oh, we're going into a cave full of goblins, there's a lot more freedom for your level of engagement to be different across the players.
Right.
Like the stakes of like Forgotten Realms adventures, like even extra like, oh, we're exploring a house in a pocket dimension. That doesn't really require you to like plan ahead or interact with NPCs or like work with your teammates. Not really. It just means, hey, go on your silly wackadoodle adventure and have fun.
Yeah.
I'm not really going anywhere with that, but I'm going to kind of segue into our topic today, unless there's some new Carl story I missed.
Well, I mean, no. I mean, sort of on point. We really like the Welcome to Derry, and Betrayal at the House on the Hill is a game where you explore a haunted house.
I do love Betrayal in the House of the Hill.
And they released an It expansion, but the It expansion is specifically for 3rd edition of Betrayal at the House on the Hill, which I didn't realize each edition actually releases a full new set of scenarios. I thought they were just minor rules updates to the existing scenarios.
Okay, you thought they were doing a Monopoly.
Yeah. But apparently,
or a D&D 5.5e.
And in 3rd edition, you actually choose scenarios. There's like 5 scenario cards, and then each scenario card has its own haunt table that you what haunt was revealed determines who the traitor is and whatnot.
Okay.
But one of the scenarios was paranormal investigators.
Excellent. On a somewhat completely, not even remotely related note, so they started putting out a new Ghost in the Shell anime, and it is in such a no-win scenario. I'm enjoying the hell out of it. But imagine, if you will, the first time your product is adapted, they make one of the best cinematic masterpieces of all time.
Yeah.
They had to make a fair number of changes to the source material to do this. So the new Ghost in the Shell anime is almost a one-to-one recreation of the manga.
Mm-hmm.
With two things they've done, because the manga would not be allowed to be aired on TV. So they had to like put in mild censorship.
Okay.
So in the orgy scene, they put people in bikinis, and for gratuitous violence, they have like a digital like censor smear over the exploded corpse, which is actually really funny in character when you think about it.
Okay.
So they like kind of worked into the building that the gratuitous violence is just kind of censored, but they censored in a way that matched the aesthetic of the show.
Okay.
So they're like, the characters are bubblier and quippier and more expressive, and it's more cartoony, because that's what the source material was. And it's this weird paradox where I'm like, this is an amazing adaptation.
Right.
Too bad it's being compared to like an actual art house film. I'm just like, oh man. I think they made the right move, tried to be like, oh no, we're gonna go like more high energy with this. Because the no-win scenario of being like, hey, we're gonna make a reboot of an anime. I was talking to my brother about it, like, I don't even think they have the ability to make it the way they used to, because they don't have the people who'll color in every individual window on a cell while wearing one of those like jeweler's glasses while cackling to themselves. Like, we don't have the same level of mania that we had when the people assembled this the first time. Because we have basic labor laws and things now.
Well, and that mania has largely been replaced by AI now too.
Not even AI, like the idea that you could digitally color it means that no one's going in with a Q-tip to color the windows, each one a different slight shade. Like, yeah, the technology to make something like the original simply might not exist. I'm just going to give a 30-second mini AI rant, and then you can say what you're going to say.
Okay.
AI is the most advertised at me thing I've ever seen in my life. I believe there are genuine uses for it. I believe that the marketing on it has it overhyped and it's not as impact. It's more like the speculation of how it'll impact is doing more impact than the actual product. But I will say this. How come I haven't seen a good product made with it yet if it's so good? That's it.
Well, that should follow you up on that tangent. One of the ads that I keep getting because of the FIFA World Cup is to show someone who has long fingernails. And it says, getting hyped for a game, remake your image to support your team or whatever. And then they, draw like different team logos on the fingernails or whatever.
Well, the funniest...
it's like...
Oh, yeah.
I really hate that the advertisements for AI are telling us to use it for such petty, insignificant, projects.
My targeted ads are a little different with it, but...
Well, it just seems like everyone's saying that it's this, resource-intensive, uses a lot of water, uses a lot of energy, uses a lot of space, and that far-reaching implications are, potentially society-ending. But then they're down here saying, oh yeah, you should just use AI to make an image of your fingernails painted a different way. It's like,
yep.
Why wouldn't you just, pay someone to paint your fingernails then?
Well, not even pay someone, just paint your fingernails. You could just do that for under 50 cents.
I mean,
I successfully was able to get my nails painted. I could successfully paint my fingernails team colors if I wanted to. I'm disabled.
If you paid someone, you could get someone to actually paint the team logos on your fingernails, such as the AI is doing to this image that doesn't actually exist.
I'm just saying, at the time it takes you to line on and sign up for this AI tool and put in your credit card, you could go to the dollar store, spend $1, and find any one of your artsy friends and be like, fingernails? And they'll be thrilled. I have a decent number of friends that if I just held up my hands and be like, paint my fingernails, that would be the best day ever.
Anyways, what I was going to say is that, unless nothing new happened with you there, Richard, I guess we can segue into our topic.
I got a couple little new things. So, like,
Oh.
first, I can't really talk about my job because it's a research position and technically it's proprietary research, but it involves reading.
Ooh.
So I've started my research project, and then today after our session, I'm going to a potluck and I'm making a make your own taco bar. So I'm gonna
Ooh.
like put up all my taco toppings in little takeout containers and line them up so people can assemble their own tacos because that should prevent picky eaters almost completely.
Right.
And I'm gonna ask your thoughts if I'm missing something. So here's my current plan for what is in my taco bar:
Okay.
beef and taco spice, no vegetables in with the beef, just straight up beef and taco spice, just classic taco beef.
Right.
Take on chicken carnitas, where I take some chicken breast, slow cook it, toss in like an orange sauce, and make like a carnita filling.
Okay.
Black beans for vegetarians, taco filling.
Mm-hmm.
Cilantro lime rice. Diced
Okay.
tomatoes. Shredded lettuce.
Yeah.
Shredded cheese. Other shredded cheese. Pickled onions.
Obviously.
Jalapenos.
Okay. All
Salsa. Sour cream.
Yeah.
And maybe a little tin of guac. So that's what I was going to bring, all in separate little takeout containers. Oh, and a bag of tortilla chips and flour tortillas. Flour tortillas don't really need to be reheated to have as a taco. You really don't need to do that. And then
Right.
I find that if I have like the rice and the chips, people can like make a taco bowl or make nachos or whatever. And I've kind of like freed myself from having to care about them. So my question is, do you think
People do like a good taco salad?
So, think I got this? Anything
I
missing?
think you have all the key ingredients.
I might also throw in a corn salad just because, like, as a topping option.
No, I think that all sounds like it's a very like traditional. Well, I mean, I don't know much about tacos. I guess maybe it's not traditional.
Oh, it's
but
definitely
it
quote
sounds,
white people taco night do.
But it sounds like it would be have all the ingredients that I typically associate with tacos.
All right, because I figured 2 proteins and then a vegetarian option. And like I said, part of like the strategy is to load everything in my cooler bag in their little like metal takeout containers and line it up nicely.
Ooh.
Should stop people who have food sensitivities from being little bitches. Because like there's actual medical food sensitivities. I care about those. And then there's like there's a little bit of I don't mean when we eat it. What do you mean there's mushrooms in with the beef? I'm just trying to prevent that.
Yeah.
Because if I was making it for my loved ones, it wouldn't be every ingredient in a separate container. And there would be like some fine diced habanero sauteed in with the beef. Like, there's things I would do that I'm probably not going to do in this case.
That definitely makes sense. I mean, habaneros diced in with the beef sounds delicious, but not everyone likes spice.
Yeah. I want tacos, but I don't want them to hurt me. Then you're a coward and a weakling. And then, yeah, that's pretty much new with me as I'm doing this research project and doing other stuff. But the what's new with me directly goes into this week's episode tactic because I'm planning to mine you for data. So, one of my big projects I've mentioned on a few episodes is teaching people how to code in Inform 7 and using that as a game design tool for literature students. The idea of, here is the simplest tool I could build a writer to write a video game. And Inform 7 isn't the simplest one. Technically, Twine is. But it's the simplest one that's a video game. So Twine will let you make a choose-your-own-adventure novel. It is really easy to literally go turn to page 37, turn to page 112.
Right.
And just have the branching. And you can get pretty fancy with it. But I don't think that hits how we picture most genres of video game. Where Inform 7, with the idea that you're interacting with the world of, like, picking up objects, putting them down, moving through a space. I think moving through a space is what makes it feel more like a video game. Where clicking through a branching story, even like a nice Telltale game, doesn't really feel like a video game if you're not moving through a space 2D or 3D. But I'm curious in your thoughts on that one. Is, like, the thing that makes it a game the moving and interacting through space?
Well, I mean, eons ago, I made an interactive PowerPoint presentation where it was basically a choose your own adventure, and you could click on the different, like, you could click on arrows to move to different screens, and you had different options that
Oh,
came up.
and for our listeners who are going to actually me, I'm aware the actual definition of a game is about creating a certain win state scenario. Like, I could pull up the actual definitions, it's in my paper somewhere. But I'm talking, this is
Hmm.
more like a conceptual fireside chat, not a dissertation. Don't at me, bro.
So I
Fun
would
fact,
say
though, if
that
anyone actuals me in the comments, I will happily mail you a copy of my 40-page dissertation so you can read it. I will happily prove my points.
um, actually,
I will mail you it, and you'll just have 40 pages to deal with. Maybe 80 if I format it. Well, actually, I think I could print through like Amazon KDP and like make it like pocketbook size and like hit the page count I need to print it. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. I'm like, wait, can I just put my paper as in a book format? That's kind of funny.
but the point being that this PowerPoint presentation, I mean, it follows all the same basic rules of Twine story, where
Oh yeah. One of my studies in one
you
of my
click on an
earlier
icon.
papers was literally about how students interacted to one of those choose your own adventure style PowerPoints and if it made them more engaged or not in the class. So the TLDR on that one is people are more engaged if they can choose which page to flip to, but they're a bitch and a half to prepare.
That's true. But the visual element, if you add the visual element to Twine, it suddenly does feel a little bit more like a video game, because you're actually seeing
Oh, Twine you can
the results of
effortlessly
what you're
add the
going to.
visual, by the way. It is easy to add
Yeah.
pictures to Twine. Almost effortless. You just put in brackets the image link location in the folder.
Oh.
Sorry, almost effortless if you're familiar at all with... I forget how not tech savvy some of my classmates were during this project. I shouldn't say effortless, but I should say relatively solvable.
Right.
Conversely, you can do that with Inform 7 as well, where you can bind an image to each room. I'm choosing to not do that because it creates such an... Using graphics and sound and other features to your game does balloon dev time exponentially, not linearly.
Well, but the point I was trying to make is that in terms of text only, choose your own adventure, that doesn't feel like a game. When you add a visual element, it does feel more like a game. But you are right that the more you give the player that visual feeling, or the more you give that player that feeling that they're actually exploring, interacting with the world, because it, like, the interactive PowerPoint, for example, you would basically have to create a separate series of slides for every possible inventory state when they pick something up, if they arrive in a room.
Actually, amusingly enough, so there's a game that came out on Steam last week that I added to my library, and it was called... Okay. I'm just pulling up the exact name because it's one of those things where the name is longer than it needs to be.
Okay.
Verteus Tales, Witch of the Dark Castle. And this game apparently was made by one dude, an animator for Vanillaware, who does Unicorn Overlord and a couple other games I really enjoy. And it's literally just a digital choose-your-own-adventure book, like it says page numbers.
Okay.
But it has an inventory, and how it handles the inventory is when you're in a fight, you roll a dice, and then your inventory will like modify the dice rolls, and then whether you win or lose changes which page you flip to. But there has been inventories in Choose Your Own Adventure novels for years. And the idea is all you'd have to do is put in, like, go to page 37 if you go north, go to page 37 if you go south. If you have the stick, go east, and then you track the inventory on a pen and paper, like you have a scratch pad where you're writing it down. So it's not that you have to have a special page for every item. It's that you can only take the item route if you have it. So it'd be like, if you have the sword, go to 37. So if you don't have it, you just can't flip to that page. The technology to do that in an adventure novel does exist. But the Choose Your Own Adventure novel doesn't really allow you to test the boundaries of the system. So
Hmm.
when I've been working on these Inform 7 projects, and I'm going to put this question to you. So I've given you Inform 7 and download you the ability to use it. So you now have the ability to code in this language magically.
Uh-huh.
And I say to you, make a game. Do you start by making the map of where things are, or the story of what happens?
Hmm. That is a good question. I mean, probably more so the story first, and then map locations to the story.
Like, I was thinking a lot about, like, Ocarina of Time, or even original Metroid, where it's like, for the way the maps of those games are designed, I have to wonder, like, what actually came first? Because if you make the world of I've just made all these zones, and I've made these dungeons, and then put what happens in them afterward, that might actually be, like, an easier project flow than if you do it the other way of, here's what I want to have happen, now I need to bend the game to work for the story I'm telling.
Well, I mean, I think it's about the levels of abstraction. Because, like I say, the choose your own adventure game or adventure novel doesn't exactly feel like a game. Like it feels more like it's a story that you're reading, and you can just follow different paths. So
I do
I
laugh though
feel
when
like
modern games get shit for that. Like, what was it? Night of the Old. One of the newer Star Wars games. Like, sure is me walking down hallways that I have to go down the specific hallway it tells me so the cool thing can happen. Sure does have a lot of the cool things happen in cutscenes I don't control.
Um, well, but so I do feel like conceptually I would do it like a choose your own adventure kind of thing first, and then, like I said, flush out the rooms, flush out the items afterwards. Um,
Or like as a thought experiment,
but
I've kind of been doing the reverse. So, because I run so much tabletop games, right? A lot of my design experience comes from creating open-ended areas that cause players to do things. Like, as you were mentioning with that unsolvable puzzle earlier of there's no reason they would reach that conclusion logically. And there's a lot of,
right,
like, early D&D things that are like, White Plume Mountain has a few of them where they're like, and when they throw a grappling hook through here, it hits the illusion wall and falls through. And I'm like, this seems weirdly specific.
right.
So it's like, creating space for people to play is like a lot of TTRPG development versus telling them, like, the number one thing bad GMs do are, I have this story I want to tell and my players will be my Sims through my story. I just think it's an interesting place to be. Like, Zelda Ocarina of Time definitely feels like more effort went into the world than into the story. Like, if you removed all the text from Ocarina of Time, you'd probably be fine. You could probably beat that game in its entirety without English. And lose very little. How do you feel about that one? Because a lot of people are like, Ocarina of Time, best game ever written.
Well, yeah, no, I don't think it's the best game ever written. I think it was a technological marvel when it came out. But I do think that there's more interesting written stories with more compelling villains and protagonists. Like,
because, like, let's be honest, The Legend of Zelda is just The Princess Bride, but slightly worse.
well, and like Link is just a generic self-insert character.
Yet
Like,
that's the part I'm completely fine with, weirdly. So, there's a big debate whether or not you want your protagonist to have character or not for designing a lot of things. Because, like, choose your own adventure novels, to really let you embody the character pretty much has to be a nothing burger.
Right.
Where, like, a lot of visual novel protagonists will be super bland, and then they'll make an anime of it, and then you'll be like, God, the protagonist of this anime is bland. I'm like, yeah, they were never designed to have character. They were designed to have all the depth of Bella Swan from Twilight.
Right, because you're supposed to be that character.
Exactly. So for Link, especially being the ambiguous, could be any gender, could be whatever character it was, really accidentally helped Nintendo a lot. Like, Nintendo wasn't trying to be woke here, but a lot of people could identify themselves as Link because Link was so crappily drawn.
Yeah, but see, then you look at video games that are more modern video games that are more complexly written, and you get like the most popular game of all time is like Grand Theft Auto 5, pretty much.
Which
I
you
don't know if
make
that's
your...
the most popular game of all time. But if you're playing through the story mode, you're playing with characters that have their own little quips and dialogues, and they have a story that like their actual
Technically, it's
character.
Minecraft. Sorry, I had to actually your fact check a most popular game of all time. Technically, it's Tetris followed by Minecraft, but
Right, but I mean, Tetris and Minecraft don't really have. I mean, Minecraft does have more.
well, we're
writing
saying
now, I
for the
guess.
sake of like this argument, we're talking more about narrative things because that's where what our topic is. But it's interesting
Yeah.
to look at. So in 2 and 3rd, we have Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, which have exact opposite approaches to this.
Exactly, those characters are actually like characters, and you're following along the story, and sometimes you do get forced, railroaded by a cutscene sometimes. Uh, but like the writing is far more engaging in those stories for sure.
So to kind of like give a bit of a summary to pivot into where I plan to redirect this topic. So we have choose your adventure style stories, which is clearly written, clearly authored. Maybe you play a blank slate, maybe you don't. But the idea is that this is a story being told to you that you have agency over adjusting. You can put weapons, you can put items, you can put whatever you want in one of these stories. But at the end of the day, you're just kind of advancing your route through the story.
Right.
Then we have the Inform 7 method of you create a space, you walk through it, you interact with objects, and it creates a lot of unpredictable interactions. Like, if I hide an Easter egg, a player will try to eat it or try to throw it, and play around with it in ways that the architect can't really predict.
Yeah, okay.
And then you have the D&D method of you're just creating a sandbox for your players, and the harder you try to tell a choose-your-own-adventure story with D&D, the worse your campaign will be. If you're literally doing it like, oh, there's 2 options they can pick here, and then they get to tell their story that way, they will always inevitably pick the 3rd option. You'll be like, hey, do you want to go against the Xantrum, or do you want to go against the Red Brands? And they'll be like, actually, we're going to open a bakery. So to kind of go where we're going and where my original question to you is, so another thing I did this week because I was bored is I made some Daggerheart content that I didn't put up on the HIO. I just kind of made it for me. So I made 2 character classes first that I'm kind of tinkering with. The first one I made is the Mage. The Mage is a Bone and Codex class.
Okay.
So you know how the Wizard has healing magic and no one has ever used their Wizard to heal?
Right.
So I made like a Freerin / Reiner Loot Mage where it's like, yeah, you have your Codex spells, but you also have Bone for moving fast, battlefield control, knowing your enemy. And a lot of their powers are built into when you use a spell. So you know how like your spell weapons in Daggerheart just shoot generic magic, but no one ever really uses their staff to shoot a magic bolt?
Right.
I specifically made a class that was, when you go to shoot a magic attack, you can add fire to it to burn them over time, ice to it to slow them down, or thunder to it to hit their stress. So the idea was, if I tell people, add flavor to your generic spell attack as a mechanic, it'll kind of teach them they can do that. And then the other subclass has one of those cool pocket dimensions where you can pull weapons in and out of that gets perks if you hit them with a spell, then hit them with a melee weapon afterward.
Right.
And then I made a Plague Doctor who's all about balancing the 4 humors and all about autopsying corpses.
Yeah, okay.
But the third thing I made is the thing that's actually relevant for this conversation.
Okay.
The third thing I made is I decided on a whim to make an ill-advised one-piece campaign frame for Daggerheart.
Okay.
So, and I will literally give you a link to this because I never sent this to you, ironically.
You did not.
So, on a whim, I want to see how hard it would be to make One Piece run in Daggerheart. The first thing I was trying to figure out, honestly, was which anime would be easiest to make a Daggerheart campaign frame out of, because I didn't want to make a useful product.
Right.
Because I can already hear the comments in the Discord server. Why would you make an original idea? You should make an original idea. That's lame. The same people who are wearing their One Piece pajamas. And sometimes the thought experiment of taking something you love and seeing how to express it in another form as a form of fan creation is legitimate art. So I made this campaign frame, which largely is basically a document that just explains how you could use One Piece logic in Daggerheart successfully. And I tried to build it with minimal changes to the system. Because another thing people love to do when they make something homebrew, and 5e was the worst for this, they'd be like, here's 5e Dragon Ball Z. It's a 300-page document that explains how to do all these Dragon Ball Z mechanics in D&D.
Okay.
Instead, I worked about how to express the existing mechanics so they would work. It's like I reflavored the mechanics rather than invented new ones.
And
the idea behind that was, yes, if you create a new mechanic for literally everything, just make your own game at that point. Like, you do hit a point of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
So, I have given you access to this document, but this idea was, and this is kind of my topic I was going for, is what settings lean themselves naturally to these Inform 7 style explorations or TRPG settings that players would enjoy and play in? What lends itself well if I'm just out here being a criminal and stealing things?
So, I mean, in terms of One Piece, I do think that. So, no, yeah. One Piece would probably is pretty perfect because you're just going from island to island, and the islands let you explore. The islands give you potential for roleplay. They give you potential for dungeons. Like the islands hit all the pillars of D&D, where combat, exploration, and role playing. And I mean, it's not exactly the same for all TTRPG systems, but I do think that is a pretty solid basis for any TTRPG, having those three pillars. And so, like something like One Piece, where again, like you're going from island to island, and did you send me?
There it is.
No, anyways, I do think that One Piece is the only thing that I would say about One Piece that it would be really hard to capture, unless you're like offering people devil fruits as a way to like change their class.
So that was the part that took me a while. So how I did it is, one of the campaign frames for Daggerheart is called Motherboard, and it's their sci-fi based one.
Okay.
And it basically makes the claim that spellcasting in this setting is science.
Okay.
So One Piece has like 3 plot points. That is how their power... They have 3 power systems because, of course, Oda has 3 power systems.
Right.
First is Hockey, which lets you blast things, punch things, give yourself armor, see the future, etc., etc.
Yeah.
The second one is Devil Fruits, which do random bullshit. And the third one is the random gadgets and shit they find on the adventure. So, a chunk of this document under domains is where I explain that, actually, if you're playing a wizard, you're using gadgets.
Okay.
If you're playing a bard, you're probably using hockey and gadgets in combination. And the idea is that, like, here's some examples of how to reflavor things. Because Nami, for example, who is a normal human who allegedly doesn't have magic, is able to shoot lightning bolts at people.
Right.
And they shoot lightning bolts at people by being like, I use this stick that fires pressurized air to create an updraft, to create a current, to cause a lightning bolt to hit somebody. Or we have a robot firing laser blasts from their hands that's powered by cola.
Right.
So, like, I basically made an example version of each character being... The only new mechanics I added were new weapons, a crew experience, and a devil fruit transformation. The devil fruit transformation I made super lazy because people overcomplicate things.
Right.
What it does is you describe your fruit's power and give it a name, such as rubber body, reindeer human, create and control smoke. You gain an experience that matches your fruit's power at a bonus equal to your tier. When you use an attack or an ability based on your fruit, you can mark a stress to increase its range by 1, or you can add this experience to your evasion or your thresholds. If you're in water, you're restrained and vulnerable and you can't swim. So the idea is you just write in an experience that has a fruit name, and then you can spend a hope to add it to any roll if you can describe how your power does it.
I see.
So in like what would fit on an index card, I've now given every single devil fruit canonic use. And then later it says, like, if you're a spellcaster and things, feel free to weave your devil fruit in, and there's a mechanical benefit to doing it. So if you're like, I'm going to give myself the hand fruit because I want hands, and I'm going to use Rain of Knives. Actually, Rain of Knives is me shooting a bunch of hands at you. Done. You spent a hope to use your devil fruit to shoot a bunch of hands at me. So I kind of like mechanically incentivize weaving your fruit into your powers, because if you weave it into your powers, your dice roll goes up by 1.
Right.
So that's kind of how I approach that, but where I'm sort of going with this, though, is if I wanted to make an Inform 7 game based on One Piece, it would take me the rest of my natural life.
Right.
Because in Form 7, you're kind of doing it on the measurement of rooms. So the game Zork, like the big famous Inform 7 game, had about 100 rooms.
Okay.
And if you consider a room as like an area, a unique area of space you had to enter that contains like a fight or some puzzles or things, every chapter of One Piece probably has about 2 or 3 worth of rooms to explore.
Of course.
If I were to make One Piece in Inform 7, where you go on your boat, you say sail to, you go to your islands, and wanted to cover just the canon locations, that would be thousands upon thousands of rooms for a fan game. And then if I add in all the other locations,
is a bit untenable.
I think this is the problem D&D has too. So D&D put in Salt Marsh and had boat mechanics in Salt Marsh, and didn't use them really. You'd like sail around the coast, and most of the things were like landlocked. And it's because making a map of a world of islands is a huge undertaking. Because if you, because you kind of have to make an Earth for your boat adventure, really.
Okay, so I was actually thinking about this. What setting would make it a good TTRPG?
Which, ironically, any that make good TTRPGs will also make good Inform 7 games, probably.
I actually have a little bit of a tangent, a little bit of a side question for you related to this. But the Awakened Hunter Gate story arcs, it just seems perfect.
Sorry, the Awakened Hunter Gate?
The Awakened Hunter / Gate. Because almost always the Awakened Hunter storyline also involves the gates with the monsters that come out and people go in them to explore said dungeon.
I would rather die, though. Because listen, bud, pal. You could easily do any Ikusai by just doing 5e and saying I was an incel who was hit by a truck as your backstory. Because they all just take place in D&D. Like, you could literally run a solo leveling campaign by your base of operations is Tokyo or Toronto or wherever, and then when you go through the portal, and then you just literally open something from your frickin' Volo's Guide or your Tales from the Yawning Portal, run one of those verbatim, and then just leave and return to where you were.
Well, see, part of the reason I say that it makes a perfect TTRPG is because you get modern day Earth. So if they want like modern tech,
I think weapons, it is the worst possible setting.
You think it's the worst possible setting?
Okay, so a well-designed TTRPG naturally leans a player into, quote, role-playing. And the more distance they can get between what they would do as a person and what their character would do, the more immersed and better the experience can be. The problem with
Mm.
Ikusai Power Fantasy Slop for role-playing is it allows a person to role-play a version of themselves and almost completely negates any kind of immersion in the story. Because if you're
Mm.
literally just running it pure video game, of hey, you
Mhm.
sign into D&D, you build your character, you go clear a dungeon, you come home, I don't think anyone would roleplay in that setting. I think they would just turn it into a loot grinding video game because they're almost too familiar with it. Like if I
Well,
told you make your OC for solo leveling right now,
mm,
I don't think you do a particularly good job because there's no
of making
touchstones.
it.
There's no touchstones to build a character around because there's no plot hooks in any of this slop.
Well, I mean, the party that you normally run TTRPGs with is extremely interested in political intrigue, and so it's like the modern day setting would lend well to that role playing
Firmly
section there.
disagree, and here's why.
No,
So here's the
okay,
thing
okay.
about political settings. So in something like
Hmm.
Fire Emblem, where you play like, oh, I'm a disgraced prince or whatever,
Hmm.
it makes sense for your character to have the social capital to play the political game,
Mm.
but have the incentive to still be an adventurer. In the
Mm.
modern world, where wealth and distribution are so far removed from talent and ability,
Mm. Hmm.
you can't play the political game in a contemporary setting and have a day job being a useful member of society. Like,
Mm.
there's no version of reality where if you're playing your wizard in a soul leveling setting, that I roleplay a scene where you meet the president. All the politics is usually independent of the characters in these settings. Jin Woo never
Mm.
actually just runs for office.
That's true.
So, like, I do think that it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to make a video game that's every video game, and then you end up being no video game. Because solo leveling is just, it's basically built on Diablo mechanics, but has completely separated the consequence of the adventure from the setting at large. By having people enter pocket dimensions to go on adventures, their adventure can never actually impact the setting.
Hmm.
So nothing Jinwoo does changes the world,
Hmm.
which is insane for someone who can recreate the universe, to have literally no impact on people's day-to-day life. I'm right, aren't I? He never actually changes anything. It's more like he uses his superpowers to fight against the other superpowers, so everything else can remain status quo. So there's no real politicking that would happen.
Hmm.
It's kind of
Well, I
like the
mean, so
bigger the scope you make the politics, the harder it is to gamify it.
it's like I kind of disagree. Like there's a lot of I've read a lot of this style of story, where there's some level of politicking. Certain guilds control certain gates,
Yeah,
and so then you
but the
have to go and interact with
players
that.
don't do it. It happens in
But
the background.
the players get to go and they choose which guild they want, which and they will allow some access to certain gates, or maybe they might have to break into another guild's gate, or maybe they have to negotiate with a guild to be able to go on a specific adventure. Uh, you can place plot hooks in specific gates, so they have to go places like. And then also, like say, the gates themselves are like a blank canvas where you can run whatever adventure you'd like within the gate.
Where I still kind of
Um,
think that because we're using this contemporary modern framing,
mhm.
that people will just play themselves. And I'm going to say the thing that's the most infuriating thing people post online, but kind of true. Why would you run this setting over 5e? What are you gaining from anchoring it like this?
Mhm.
Because negotiating with guilds over territory, I think, would be more compelling in the fantasy setting. Because
You
then,
think so?
like, well, think about it. What's more interesting? Oh, I had to break into a gray labeled building so their other superheroes don't jump me? Or I had to break into an enemy kingdom to go on my mission.
Well,
'Cause you've
this comes back around to the scope. Um, like you're saying that One Piece just has way too much scope. There's too many rooms. There's too many options.
I might be
Um,
wrong, though. I do think if someone gave me the intellectual rights to One Piece and I had 3 years, that would be the best TTRPG I'd ever played. Am I wrong?
From island to island and exploring.
If you actually had the full map, so you didn't have to follow his route, you could follow any of the 20 routes through the different lines and things. If you had access to the full history of the setting, and you knew how it ended, yeah, you could make an amazing One Piece TTRPG. One Piece's biggest problem right now for gamification is it's not finished.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only that the scope is insane, but also I can't finish the scope. Because, every One Piece campaign would have the same problem at the end. The fuck's the One Piece?
What is the One Piece?
And if you don't know what that is, you can't really end the story.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, part of my problem with using solo leveling as an example. And also, if you use a genre, for the scope of this conversation, let's try and go to specific IPs or two, not genres. Because the argument is, hey, could I make a good Isekai genre game? I guess. I mean, I'm going to push back tons because I do think that most people I've known for dropping D&D and things would be insufferable in a solo leveling game.
Okay, are you conflating Isekai with the Awakened Hunter / Gate system? Because it's a lot of the Awakened Hunter / Gate systems that I've read are not Isekais. They are in fact their own fantasy setting.
That's fair. I'm going to let you have that. So let's call it gates for now. You're right. There was some verbal conflation going. So we're going to call it the fantasy gate setting. Which, for the record...
Because, I definitely agree that Isekai is just lazy. Why are you not running D&D?
Mm-hmm.
There's no point to running Isekai TTRPG because it's just then why did you? It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah,
Isekai as a genre just doesn't really make that much sense in general.
If you told me, hey, you should run Rising of the Shield Hero as a campaign, counterpoint, I run D&D.
Exactly.
And if you want to be accused of rape in your backstory for whatever gross reason, sure.
But something like Sentenced to Be a Hero.
Man,
that's
such a. I'm gonna run that at some point. Oh man, it has 3 things I love about it that I would just. That campaign frame for Daggerheart would be so clean and easy to add to. Because you add in the mechanic of every time you die, you delete a detail off your backstory. You have there's a bomb around your neck, and then the magic system of, you equip these glyphs, and your spell casting is a number of glyphs you have equipped. You could pretty much run it as written, but add in that, the glyphs are solar powered and life force powered. Yeah, that'd be a dope setting to run. You have to kill these god monsters, and then humanity's trying to sell you out, and they summon your corpse. That's good stuff. Zero hesitation to run Sentenced to Be a Hero. Which, for the record, isn't enough of a setting you would make your own game on it. It's absolutely a plugin for any fantasy TTRPG, but it's a good plugin. Because the core gimmick is really good. Of you're a suicide squad with a bomb around your neck trying to, that was a great setting. If I had the rights to that, I would make that Inform 7 game in a heartbeat. The protagonist is just bland enough it could just be anybody.
But so, coming back around to the gate system, my actual question, because and in the end, almost all of these style stories, the protagonist becomes a god that overthrows the system which gave them their power.
Yeah. So I think part of this is going to be an ironic statement. So I've read a fair number of them, and to remove the conflate and just focus on where in the real world there's gates you go through, MacGuffin system, and on the other side of the gates is typically D&D. I think the solo and solo leveling is actually kind of built into the genre.
Oh,
is the genre depends on the protagonist being the most special person.
okay.
So it's like, it's such a built-in power fantasy. I don't know. Like, I don't think I could get my group on board to play one.
Mm.
I'm not entirely sure what their reasons would be, but I think the idea that, oh, this takes place in the real world, but you go through these fantasy portals is just not that good of a pitch.
I feel like from a mechanical perspective, it's like, um, there's a hierarchy of heroes, um, and then in the real world you're trying to work your way up through the hierarchy, so you have access to better dungeons, and then there's a party system because I mean, the most of the stories the hero tends to go off alone, but there are always parties of heroes in the background, going and doing other dungeons and whatnot.
I just think it
Is
doesn't give a lot of like, so a lot of my like more invested D&D players will invent the town that they're from, invent pieces of their backstory, and really try and like build their share of the world.
Mhm.
And I think a lot of that is missing with this idea that the adventure's not taking place in the setting the characters live. So like to kind of flip flop this on you. So I have a Stargate TTRPG sitting on my shelf.
Yeah.
Stargate is basically the same concept if you go through a portal to your adventure world. But the big difference is instead of getting seemingly arbitrary JRPG mechanics shoved in, you just have a gun.
Right.
You just go with your gun
Yeah.
on your adventure. Go on your adventure with
Mm.
your team, come back, and then any alien technology you stole, you kind of like integrate.
Mm.
How do you feel about the Stargate setting versus there's magical gate set? Because the magical... Okay, I'm going to be mean for a second. The magical gate system creates questions that the authors of these stories themselves are not prepared to answer. Like, why does the government actually do nothing? How do any of this work? Like, my D&D player would immediately ask, why do I have hero powers? And I do not think a lot of these stories are prepared to answer the why in any way.
I don't know. Like I say, I've been reading a lot of them. Maybe that's why it's on my mind as potential
I don't know. I
TTRPG.
think this is some cost fallacy where I'm like, I don't think this would work well. You're like, nah, I'm going to double down.
Could be, uh, but um, I mean, a significant number of them are essentially like, the new energy source, which is also the cause of the gates. In most cases, mana uh, permeates the world, and some people react to it to gain
Well,
superpowers.
one of
Some
my,
people
like,
react
so,
poorly, end up in the hospital.
I don't know. I
Um,
just feel like,
that's actually a pretty common theme is people reacting poorly to the saturation of this new power, and ending up in the hospital, and that being a motivation for a character to explore the dungeons to find a cure.
I don't know. I just feel like people would build characters they've seen, and it doesn't really give them the tools to build characters with unique motive. Let's put it this way. There's exactly one motivation for every character in that setting.
Oh,
Well, think about it. Your character's only motivation can be, I need to clear the dungeon for a reason.
right.
So, in a well-designed D&D party, for example, you have characters that are approaching problems through different angles, through combat, non-combat, negotiation. Sometimes it's, I want to start a band. Other times it's literally, I want to make a bakery. You kind of lose a lot of that when the show is systematically set up that you're supposed to clear a dungeon every week. And, like, I don't know. And then, so one of my series I did enjoy in that genre was Tokyo Gate, where a portal opened and they sent in the special forces with machine guns and helicopters into, like, Fantasy World.
Yeah.
And I just really enjoyed where a person pulls out an RPG and shoots a dragon with a rocket.
Right.
But, like, part of me for the solo leveling genre is this idea that because we said so, you're a fantasy character is just kind of weird. Like, it's like we give people modern setting, but tell them every object in the modern setting is useless to you. Because, like, our player can't bring a gun because the system doesn't power up guns because it said so. I feel like there'd be a lot of me saying because I said so in this setting. But also, yeah, because, like, imagine you're running a solo leveling campaign. And I say, cool, can I drive a tank through the portal?
Mm-hmm.
Can I drive a tank through the portal?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do that?
You can.
Cool, do you have the
Yeah.
stats for a tank?
Well, so obviously, as a part of creating your setting, you're going to create the variety of different objects that would be required for it. Like I don't have a stat
Except,
block
and
for
this is
tank
kind of my
at
quip on
moment.
this one. So say your job is you were literally hired to adapt solo level specifically into a TTRPG.
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't make a stat block for a tank. Because no one in that setting has ever used a tank.
Sure.
I don't know. I do think a lot of our train got derailed because I'm like, I don't like your idea. And you're like, well, instead of finding another idea, I'm going to argue why you're wrong, and people would totally play in my awesome solo leveling campaign.
Oh, I'm not saying people would totally play my awesome solo leveling campaign, and I don't think solo leveling specifically would be the right genre, would be the right actual like source material. But solo leveling is also just part of that generic slop of gate
Yep.
stories.
Because, like, if you came out swinging, like, this specific gate story does X, Y, and Z, and here's why it'd be good, I'd probably would have been less dismissive. But you're like, here's a genre that's extremely mid. You should use this incredibly mid thing, and I'm like, out of all creation, your first thought is solo leveling is what I would do for my TTRPG brand tie-in. Like, let me rephrase the question even more. You're specifically given an intellectual property and told to make a TTRPG out of it. What would be your favorite thing to be handed? What would be your least favorite thing to be handed? And we can kind of go through it that way.
Well, so I was actually, like I had mentioned, this would probably derail the conversation even more.
Good.
But it's like, do you think that the gate style story could actually be fixed, either to become a TTRPG or just as a general concept? Because, like I say, they all seem to end with you become a god and overthrow the system.
No, I don't think it can. I think the fundamental flaw is people are borrowing mechanics from cooler things, and they're not willing to create enough lore for your players to track on and become a co-creation process. Because a TPT RPG at its root is a collaborative storytelling experience. And I don't think these stories are set up to let people build out the world with you. Because they're kind of fundamentally based on holding back information and constructing it in extremely linear ways. Like a solo level video game, even if you're like, oh, you can run to whatever portal you want to fight, you would still kind of have to fight appropriately leveled things, and there's no lore attached to what's in the portal. Because as you mentioned, you could build like this intergate guild scenario of, oh, I'm going to go into Red Fang territory to go into Red Fang's portal to get my golden knife. But I just don't think people can daydream about being in these settings effectively unless they're the main character.
Okay, but so like Digimon Cyber Sleuth.
Yeah.
Basically had the two worlds, your digital world and the real world, and then you do a lot of your mystery solving in the real world, and you do your combat in the digital world. I mean, it's not exactly a gate system, but it's a similar conceptual framework.
I know if I was DMing for that, first off, if I was making a Digimon TTRPG, I would not use Cyber Sleuth, I would use World.
Oh.
So Cyber Sleuth of, hey, you're in the city jumping into computers, solving computer crimes. Part of that one is, I kind of said this with the Gate one, is everyone kind of has the same party role in that one. Like things that where you naturally form yourself like a band of 5 who have different like archetypes, let players play off each other better. Cyber Sleuth probably wouldn't be, or like Mega Man Battle Network probably wouldn't be where I would go. Now, the original Digimon Season 1 plot of, you're a kid at summer camp, a portal opens up and you're thrown in the middle of a beach with cell phones upside down, with a bunch of phone booths and a giant beetle trying to kill you, describes the name of the gecko in front of you. I can work with that. Because then your players feel like they're free to build the story based on their actions. Because even if it's a lie, You need the player to believe that their actions change the story. I'm not sure in the Gates example, or even the Cyber Sleuth example really, that their actions would have consequences. Because like in Cyber Sleuth, for example, if you made it that players could hack into any computer, unravel the mystery however they want, they wouldn't really be able to shift where the plot is going with how that kind of game is presented.
Okay, but so then we come back around to One Piece, where you're going from island to island. And I mean, I guess I'm not super familiar with One Piece itself, but like, how would you ensure that they feel like they're impacting the story when it is so episodic, island to island?
Oh, super easy. So the first thing you do is you have each player invent an island that they're from. Step one.
Okay.
Just invented bullshit island, because the setting literally means you can make any islands you want.
Right.
And then in One Piece, each island arc is a campaign that determines the fate of the people living on that island specifically. So if we went, say I am not expanding it, I'm just going, I have made every location Luffy has went to.
Yeah.
Luffy is presented with Alabasta with 3 options, really. Well, 4. Option 1, overthrow Crocodile and put Princess Vivi on the throne.
Right.
Option 2, sell out Princess Vivi and become a warlord of the sea. Option 3, knock both people on and claim the island as his territory and just conquer it. Or option 4, actually I'm with the Navy and I want to figure out that Crocodile's committing crimes and arrest him. So your approach of how your version of the Straw Hat crew goes to each island drastically affects not only the future of the island, but like what kind of pirate you are. If you're even a pirate, you could run a Navy campaign. And your job is to go capture Luffy. It's like all... I think what I'm kind of getting on with this one of One Piece versus some of these other stories is to be a really good TTRPG setting, the bad guys kind of need to be playable. Like, not saying they would be, but you need to have a setting fleshed out enough where the other side that you aren't controlling are complex enough that if your players wanted to play from that angle, they could.
Right.
Because in D&D, you don't have to be good. And the game, everyone, 99% of people decide to be good. But you don't have to be. And I think that's important. If in solo leveling you decided, fuck all these guys, you still do the same things as if you decide, I'm going to team up and work together. If Jin Woo wasn't an asshole, it really wouldn't have changed his arc.
Okay.
Because he doesn't actually have agency in his story. To the point where it's a story mechanic that he has to do what the story tells him to do. And I'm using solo leveling because that's the example I'm familiar with. Like, imagine a DM, a bad DM who has a story in their mind who says, Carl, if you don't go to the next dungeon, I'm going to have a giant snake attack you. That happened. That was like episode 4.
I mean, that's true.
So, where like if you were to tell something like Naruto, if you take Naruto out of Naruto, it makes an amazing setting. Take him, throw him the fuck out. 5 ninja villages, different elements, going on assassination missions and things, while a villain tries to collect the Pokemons to end the world. Great setting, if you make yourself distant enough from the main characters who have main character syndrome.
Okay, so then, like, something like Speedcrafter.
That would be interesting. I'm curious to see how you would do that.
Well, I'm just curious because, like, the setting itself is fairly generic, but the acquisition of powers and the mystery of what the villain actually is trying to do, like it. I mean, you could almost just play that as just straight D&D in the modern world with magical powers kind of thing.
I mean, I don't think I would. I'd probably use like Blades in the Dark or a more heist-based system. But I think the big difference between Speedgrapher versus solo leveling is Speedgrapher, you could play the Mr. Suitengu campaign. You could be like, actually, I'm playing this game to collect as much money as possible to collapse the economy of the government. Because it's like,
Right.
because Mr. Suitengu was an antagonist but wasn't the main villain, so it's like there's enough people and setting you could build that out to. There's a world where you go to a BDSM club and get superpowers that have a side effect that kills you. And different characters are doing different things. Like, if you played the Suitengu campaign, you would hate photography guy, who keeps sniping you with his wide-range camera. Or if you played as photography guy, you would hate Mr. Suitengu with his awesome blood wings and vaguely established organ transplant powers. But, like, do you kind of get where I mean about, like, the openness of the world?
I suppose. Like, I kind of see that, like, yeah, the stakes for the individual adventures in the game system would not be very high.
Well, like, let's put this into perspective. So, if we go with Speedgrapher and you decide to blow a building up, people care. It's on the news.
Right.
The building has been blown up. And then your characters can, like, go to jail or be shot by SWAT. Like, it basically gives your actions consequence. If you're in solo leveling to go inside a gate, and we're like, oh, the people are sentient in the gate, and you ripped out all of their hearts and ate them, and then just beat up a widow of 3, there'd be no actual game consequence to your action, which I think would just result in people being terrible players. They would almost get bored, because, like, one person would be like, oh, I set the goblins on fire, and then I'd be like, okay. And it's like when I play as a PC once in a while, I'll be like, I cast waterboard to make other players tell me, no, you're not allowed to waterboard this man. But yeah, Speedgrapher would be interesting. I know you come into some limitations where, like, the scope isn't big and the bullshit powers are bullshit, but I think it'd be workable.
Yeah, well, I mean, you would make some of the bullshit powers at least match your system.
Yep. And also, if I got a license to do Speedgrapher specifically, I'd be so confused. I'd be like, is there supplemental material or something? I'm gonna... Alright, I'm gonna see what I can do, guys. Because it's a relatively low scope story. I'm like, alright, you're giving me 24 episodes. I have less to work with than a season of Shark Tank, but I'll do what I can.
Well, okay, so I mean, if we're gonna touch on the big three, Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece, what about Bleach?
So,
do you think Bleach would make a good TTRPG setting?
Yes, with many asterisks. So many asterisks. So, Bleach has 3 interesting settings and one bland one that they didn't really get into. So, if you do Bleach and your idea is, hey, Uehara has acquired 4 characters of various Bleach-related ancestries, and you have to go, like, fight hollows on missions. It's like, Bleach's real story is almost in the past. So Bleach is interesting if you make it we're a Shinigami. And there's all this, like, we go and kill hollows, sure, but there's all this weird politics and nobility and sketching. Like, Bleach has a lot to work with. But I think if you made your campaign be like a Boruto of, oh, this takes place after Bleach, you would struggle a bit. You'd almost have to, like, go, like, when the 1,000-Year Blood War happened the first time, make your character. Because, like, I think it's there, but it's very disjointed. Like, I'd love to make a Bleach RPG. But, like, to make players play into that setting, I think you couldn't really do what the show did of Ichigo runs around and his powers make other characters show up who kind of help maybe. I think if you're literally like, hey, here's your squad of low-rank Shinigami being sent out on a mission, I think you could do it.
Well, the more interesting angle would actually be, like you say, in the past, here's your squad of Quincy's.
Right? Or, like, your mixed squad. I kind of enjoy like, oh, you're a third party faction in the war because there's Orankar, Hollows, Shinigami, and Quincy's going around, and you're like not extremist on any. Like, it's interesting because the Shinigami and Quincy's are both very much extremists.
Well, then you'd be playing something like the Vizards.
Yeah, like if you're like
Wizards?
Yeah, so like there's a lot you could go with it. Like it would be an interesting setting. I do think that having it take place in the modern day, you could do that. Like you're a group of substitute Soul Reapers, you could make that work. But like, I don't know. Inventing your antagonist would be a problem. Because it's like Bleach kind of has like dealt. Bleach, where it is at now, is interesting. Like I was saying for One Piece, you could approach all of the problems in One Piece from different angles. Like, the alternate timeline of, oh, I'm playing as Marine Luffy for this playthrough is a fascinating story of itself.
Right.
Because One Piece, all of the characters' actions have rippling consequences. Vast rippling consequences. Like, Luffy punches out one guy in a bar, and then as a side effect, he now has a fleet. 1,000 chapters later. Bleach, and I blame Aizen for this, likes to be like everything that happened was part of my master plan and had to happen that way. Doesn't really kosher with player agency very well. So it's like, I wonder if the solution to make a Bleach RPG is to have Ichigo never be born at all. And it's like you, the protagonist, stumble across. It's like if you were, instead of Ichigo, were just a random person that Rukia gave powers to, and then you met your squad of like rejects, maybe it would take some finessing. Because I think its setting is really interesting, and its power system is actually more interesting than the other two. Like the I have a sword that's a piece of my personality that transforms into a tactical nuke. There's like a lot of play there.
Right.
Or like, oh, I have a list of 100 spells, but I haven't actually filled the whole list, and I don't actually have 100. I just want the number to be bigger. I would love to take on this project, but I admit it would be the hardest of the big three by a wide margin to make playable.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then Hunter x Hunter's a lie. Hunter x Hunter on paper would be amazing for this, but in practice would not. So, Hunter x Hunter, you have this sick power system. Great power system. You would literally just pick your class and your subclass, and as you level it up, it'd be like more things you can do in that field.
Right.
However,
well, it would actually work perfectly for Daggerheart, because you basically have your main trait and your special and your secondary trait. So it's like your main domain and your secondary domain. It wouldn't really do well for the specialists that just kind of get everything, but
yeah, but you can almost map it one for one. Like it'd be pretty easy to say bone or enhanced of the bone. Like I would probably take each domain, not each class. I'd take each domain and say which of the 6 Hunter x Hunter schools it falls in.
Right.
Like Grace and Splendor would be manipulators. Conjurers would be Codex and whatever. Like you get the idea. Like it'd be pretty easy to map it. And then your blade and your bone and your melee ones are also Nen, you're done. However, Hunter x Hunter doesn't use the setting of Hunter x Hunter. And it's infuriating. They show us a map, and people love to tell me Hunter x Hunter is good world building. Then why did it spend 200 episodes in a video game?
Yeah.
Why did it spend 200 chapters just in North Korea with the Chimera Ants? And why are they on a boat leaving, having not explored their whole map? None of the places on the map actually have things there, and it infuriates me. Because the setting's great. You go through an awesome exam, get a license, and go on missions around the world with your squad of friends with your eclectic superpowers. But I would notice real quick that the map was empty. It's like freaking Fallout 47, where they're like, hey, we have an open world Fallout, but we didn't populate the map with anything. Honestly, Greed Island would probably be my TTRPG, and I would just make it Greed Island.
Because Greed Island was kind of, I mean, it wasn't innovative, but it was kind of cool.
No, just because it's complete. Just because we know where all the things are and what you do in it, and like the goal of, hey, you have to collect these cards to leave would actually be like a reasonable thing you could make. Although the Nen
So-
doesn't have anything to do with the magic cards in Green Island. The end of this rant is Hunter x Hunter inexplicably doesn't work for this project, and I'm bitter about it. Because it's like, you guys didn't do the work. I'd have to do so much world building for a series that allegedly has good world building.
Mm.
I mean, the easy one is you just do Full Metal Alchemist and you're done. Like, the map's already drawn, every city is fleshed out, every nation has like 100 years of history recorded, the power system just works. And to make your Full Metal Alchemist TTRPG, you just have it happen after Full Metal Alchemist. Because, like, yeah, the dwarf in the flask was defeated, but people still just have alchemy, and there's just corrupt government officials in other countries, and I think Russia was draining people's blood. And, like, once one country makes a countrywide transmutation circle, I'm sure Asia, who's actively hunting immortality, took some notes. It was like,
yeah, that's a good point.
like, oh man, so many plot hooks of, hey, yeah, it's like your character saw a solar eclipse happen, died for a minute, came back to life. You currently are in the Mestris military run by Colonel Mustang. What do you want to do? In your backstory, explain something horrible alchemy did to you. Because, like, that'd literally be one of your character plots, because Full Metal Alchemist was about getting something you lost, so you just prompt everyone, what's something you lost that encouraged you to become a character?
Okay, now, so another idea. I mean, you've read all of the Gray Man, yes, no?
Yeah.
Do you think that setting / Exorcist mechanics would make a good TTRPG?
I think Blue Exorcist...
Gray Man specifically. Blue Exorcist is a better, okay.
I think Blue
That makes
Exorcist
sense.
would do the same thing better, because D-Grade Man's a little wackadoodle arc cloning at some points. You could do it, like... like, Blue Exorcist at least, like, sorts their exorcists into categories. Like, you're a swordsman, you're a wizard, you're a chanter.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, yeah, modern-day Exorcist just works fine.
Yeah, okay.
I don't find it mind-blowing, but, like... We remember that time in Show and Jump where there was 5 Exorcist series going at one point.
Oh, I mean, they're still pretty, like, exorcisms. It seems to be dying out, but it still seems to be going strong at the same time.
And yeah, the idea that, oh, I have spirit powers. Like, a Shaman King ass setting. I think the biggest problem with that setting is it's almost too obvious.
Oh?
Well, it's like, I make a TTRPG where your character woke up and could see ghosts, and then you have a magical weapon and use them to kill ghosts, and then you go to a magical academy that teaches you to kill ghosts with your magical weapon. I don't know. I feel like Yu Yu Hakusho, Bleach, Blue Exorcist, like, a lot of them have tons of overlap. Like, Bleach really only gets interesting when you get into these weird Soul Reaper politics.
Right.
Where, like, Blue Exorcist or D. Gray Man are like, yeah, they're fine. They're fully serviceable settings. Like, if I were to say, hey, in Daggerheart, I'm running it, the setting is Toronto, there's ghosts, you're exorcists, practicing ancient techniques and spirit magic. Also, there's, like, I think I could just get away with it for the most part. Like, I think it'd work fine.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, now I got one more where I think the story was kind of terrible, but
Ooh, I love terrible story, good setting.
The Irregular at the Magic Academy.
Yes, just yes.
You just yes. Using the tech to encode your spells, and
It had a completely
Well, I mean-
reasonable magic system. Your characters attend magic school. Like, it's Hogwarts mixed with, like, it's a weird one. I would describe the Irregular at the Magic Academy as Hogwarts meets Die Hard. There's, like, a lot of times where they're like, okay, I'm a student with, like, my weird extendo sword, but also we're being attacked by terrorists.
yeah, and I mean, in that particular scenario, the main character is in fact part of like a military black ops group too. Like,
So, like, there's a, like, that's a great setting. Obviously, they're not allowed to be the protagonist. I think I'd even keep him in it, though. Hot take. Him running around as an NPC is fine. It's him being the main character that's my problem. As like you die in a mission and a dude shoots you with his magic gun and brings you back to life. You're like, what the hell just happened? I think you become the party's BBEG instantly. If someone was playing in that setting and you're like, oh, you're a group of students who are a squad, or like, I'm going to call it like the public safety club or something, trying to figure out weird things happening at the school, and you see that motherfucker, I think anyone who didn't watch the story would assume he was the main villain. He's shady as all hell.
Yeah, he is.
And then, like, if you're letting your players have the agency, the idea that, oh, we learned this guy nuked a cruise ship, we need to stop him. Killing that guy would be such a hard campaign.
That is true.
Like, he's such a more interesting as a villain. We learn this guy with, like, a crush on his sister, works for the U.S. military, bombing ships. He'd be more hated than Strahd. It'd be great. So yeah, I just firmly agree. I'd have to flesh out the magic system a little more, because it does just seem to be people be doing magic. You'd have to have rules for that written down. Like, the hypothetical, could you make it in Daggerheart? Probably. Probably could just do it. Like, there's a couple people running around with swords. You just use the loophole of, like, oh yeah, Blade and Bone and Valor are just types of magic too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because there was the one dude with the hit people stick. That was the stick he hit people with. So I personally would be fine DMing. It's so funny because you're like, I think you're expecting me to hate him. Like, no, the setting's great. Just that guy. That guy himself sucks, and no one can be him.
Well, no, I think the setting was really interesting, but I mean, I watched way too much of it. I don't know why I watched so much of it. It was terrible.
Because the setting was awesome.
The setting was awesome, but the story was just so like, oh, what the hell?
On a flip side, I would like Legendary Heroes is already a D&D campaign. Just is. Like, it's not even like, if I were told, hey, I need you to make Legend of the Legendary Heroes as a campaign frame for Daggerheart, done. All the countries have name, they have signature spells.
But what is Legend of the Legendary Heroes doing that's different from the generic fantasy that is D&D?
Oh, it's not. It's just the main characters are doing a buddy cop romance that's a slow burn, where the main character doesn't want to, like, fall in love because he believes he's cursed. Like, no, it's just a slow burn romance in a D&D setting. Legendary Heroes ain't doing shit. I think, like, the only unique mechanics are specifically porting the legendary relics they're trying to find. And kind of like, they kind of had this thing where, like, each area had its own unique spell casting, and his thing was he could steal spells with his cursed eyes. So, like, I would probably literally just add in new ancestries to cover for the magic eyes, where, like, you could just pick a magic eye ancestry, add in a few custom spells and items, and then I'm done. I think one thing it does that D&D doesn't is it's a very much a non-magical race setting. It's very human-focused. But yeah, quite frankly, it's just a D&D campaign. I don't even know if I have to do anything. I think if I had the Legendary Heroes wiki open, I could just DM it. Because, yeah, you're like, oh, your job is literally, hey, you wrote this report on magical relics, go find me magical relics, is the most D&D-esque concept imaginable.
Fair enough.
It was a good D&D campaign, but if someone told me, oh yeah, he just wrote down his D&D campaign, I'd believe it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'd even keep the core cast as NPCs, sure. You could just run into these people. But like, definitely not pushing the envelope forward with that one.
Right, yeah. Like I say, like, it's pretty generic fantasy. Minus the fantastical races.
Yep. And then, if I wanted to do Gundam, the problem would be getting 5 players who are into Gundam enough to want to be a Mobile Suit Squad in Gundam. Because Gundam's an obvious one, right? Like, yeah, I have a TTRPG where you play as a bunch of youth because most of the adults are dead who are in a colony that was getting bombed, and now you've been drafted onto a ship that has 5 mobile suits on it. Done. But, like, Gundam doesn't feel like you really have agency either.
Okay, but what about a Star Trek TTRPG. I'm sure that already exists.
Oh, it
but,
already
like,
exists and it's great. Like, I would have to find the people
Space
willing to play
exploration,
it.
yeah.
Not only does it already exist, and there's like 10 editions, but like there's even one-page versions of it, like lasers and feelings, where you choose if you want your stats or lasers or feelings to solve your problems.
Okay.
But yeah, you're in a spaceship going to strange new worlds every week is the most like obvious TTRPG setting imaginable.
Okay, but so then, like, this is basically similar to a space version of One Piece, where how you go and explore the planets is more important than the planets themselves.
Oh yeah, like for example, I've been playing a Star Trek Voyager game on PC, which is really good, and it's you basically they took every single episode of the show, put it in this game, but let you make moral choices on how you handle every problem, and then they cascade.
Mm.
So, like for example, there's a port where aliens dying of a phage abducted my science officer and teleported out his lungs so they could put them in themselves.
Oh.
Do I A, build new lungs for my person and let them kind of get away with it and negotiate? B, kill them all horribly to send a message? Or C, demand my lungs back and offer them some sort of experimental treatment? And then it rolled dice to see, like, this ends with my science officer being dead and me wiping out their entire species.
Oh.
But, like, yeah, in a setting where, like, hey, it's a planet full of mini Hitlers, do you bomb it? This is great. That's great. Like, you have tons of agency. Like, even if your players aren't playing the captain, the agency as you as players go talk to the captain and be like, hey, captain, what do we... I think, and as long as you as the DM are willing to, like, let the players have agency to control these ridiculous outcomes, you're like, oh yeah, humanity's now been enslaved by the Borg because you let one get away because you thought it might have feelings. Or conversely, oh, you thought the planet of Hitler's was bad. They're the only place that grew the cure for cancer, idiot. So yeah, Star Trek just works. Just works. Stargate works too. Star Trek is like... I am certain Star Trek and Star Wars have just never not had RPGs going. Like...
Fair enough.
I don't even know if I'd put Star in the title of something I made because it's so obvious they would just go play Star Trek or Star Wars.
What about Star Ocean?
That just came out. Star Ocean is kind of... I don't know, how familiar are you with Star Ocean?
Oh, not overly.
Alright, so to give you a little bit of a clip note here. In Star Ocean, the premise usually is you're advanced aliens that usually end up crash landed on like a fantasy planet. But magic in this setting is something that just is a type of science called symbology. Right. And you later learn that it's because technically the entire world's a simulation and magic is hacking the source code of the world.
Okay.
But one of my favorite scenes in gaming is where they build a mana cannon covered with magical glyphs, attach it to the back of a dragon, and fly up to shoot the underbelly of a spaceship to knock the invaders out of the sky. If that's not the most TTRPG-ass storytelling beat you've ever heard in your life, of using the magical cannon on the back of a dragon to shoot down a spaceship. Yeah, the great setting. 10 out of 10. It's a setting that reasonably has magic and guns, and infinite exploration, full player agency. It's a great setting.
All right.
100% would use it. Same with Phantasy Star, which is basically the same setting.
Do you think it's easier to adapt a game rather than anime or book?
Depends on the game. Definitely easier to adapt a game, though. 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Like Orrery of Time, I could just make an Inform 7. Take me a while, but I could probably make it almost a one-to-one deconstruction of it. Some games, like, would be a... most games will be easier. Like, yeah, you can't adapt Tetris.
Right.
But, like...
But any game that has a story is going to be adaptable.
A story and a world. The world part is important. So say you're doing Street Fighter, for example. Street Fighter has enough lore in the characters and locations you can kind of piece together a setting. Like if I were to make a Baki TTRPG of, you just underground fight clubs punch people, secret martial arts society. I think many of those would work pretty good. I'd have to study more about martial arts to make the boxer class and the grappler class feel noteworthily different.
Okay, but so then, like, if we were to go a different martial arts direction and go with the Breaker, do you think the Breaker has enough of a world to try and build TTRPG?
I think it'd be a fun experiment. Because the Breaker... So its power system's already better than some of these fighting games because they like break into like different directions in schools, pun intended. So it's like your class would basically be your style. The Breaker's interesting because it's like, I think the Breaker, Kengan Ashura, Baki, like even History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi to an extent, all of them are doable. But it kind of runs into the Stargate, the Gundam problem of you would need 5 people who are into that genre.
Or who are into the martial arts genre.
Yeah,
okay.
And all your characters will kind of play the same.
Well,
so it's
and then it's like when you say martial arts genre, I do think that a lot of people jump straight to like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, which are martial arts.
Dragon Ball would be incredibly great to adapt. Dragon Ball Z would not. Dragon Ball of the, hey, I can blow up a mountain, and I have this... Dragon Ball's map is very well done. Its world, its settings, its afterlife, and it's been adapted to like 30 games already. You could easily make the Dragon Ball world. And the quest took of collect 7 Dragon Balls to grant a wish and stop the bad guys from collecting them first. First, Season 1 Dragon Ball has a good TTRPG party in it. You got a scientist, a martial artist, a criminal, a pig, an old man. Like, you have a pretty good, balanced, eclectic group of characters with unique strengths and abilities.
Right.
Dragon Ball Z throws it all out. Just throws it out. Throws it out completely. In Dragon Ball, you watch it start throwing it out over the course of it. So Dragon Ball Z doesn't really give enough character identity anymore because everyone technically has the same skill set and power set. At times. At other times it comes back. Like, the parts where they were, like, hunting for Cell, exploring the labyrinth. Like, ironically, whenever the show lets Bulma do things, it is closer to being a good TTRPG.
That makes sense.
Like, if I made my Dragon Ball Z character classes, they'd probably be martial artist, scientist, wizard. Right? Like, rogue. And be the idea that, yeah, we almost have to nerf everybody for this to be a good experience.
But you are right that all the characters in Dragon Ball Z just end up being, like, key blasts and punchy, and nobody actually has anything unique about them.
And I like to say that if we had the more eclectic cast, and we take something like the Frieza arc, Bulma fighting a crab in a mech suit to steal a Dragon Ball while they tried to bluff out Vegeta, like, there's pieces there that if you lowered the scale a bit and, like, balanced out the classes a bit, it could be done. Like, ironically, if I were to run Dragon Ball, it's just its setting, but give it Daggerheart's power scaling and mechanics. So the premise of there's robots, androids, aliens, dinosaurs, wish-granting orbs. Your villains of Season 1 are Team Rocket. Your villains of Season 2 are the Russian military for some reason. Assassin, three-eyed Triclops, assassins, tournaments. Like, if you ran that through a Daggerheart engine and just said, listen, the best I can give you is a Kamehameha wave. No, you all can't fly. I think there's enough world building there you could get away with it. But you definitely...
My question becomes, like, martial arts series are generally doable, but how often do you think people conflate martial arts series with something like Dragon Ball, and then that's why they're just like, it's just going to be Dragon Ball
I don't think they conflate it with Dragon Ball. I think
or Dragon Ball Z.
I think it's the artwork you put on the cover. If you put anime characters on the cover and call it martial arts, it becomes Dragon Ball. If you put Street Fighter characters on the cover, it becomes Street Fighter. I think people have seen enough martial arts movies, or at least are aware enough about them. Their brain actually gonna go Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee. I think they're gonna think Jackie Chan Adventures, honestly.
Which would be a great setting.
So I'm gonna throw that back to you. I have given you the IP for Jackie Chan Adventures. Do you think this game works? How would you go about making it?
Well, I mean, so actually, Jackie Chan Adventure almost gives off Inuyasha vibes.
First off, I would kill for an Inuyasha contract. Oh, that's such a good setting.
But I mean, the Jackie Chan Adventures where they're going around and they're trying to find the 12 talismans. And the 12 talismans keep showing up in random people's hands and causing problems, and you have to try and steal them from villains, and then villains steal them from you. And like thematically, they're very, very similar. Inuyasha and Jackie Chan.
I was going to say Jackie Chan Adventures and Dragon Ball are extremely similar. Not Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that's also true. Where the scope is so much tighter. And all the characters are martial artists.
I will say this about Jackie Chan Adventures, though. Jackie Chan Adventures have classes. So, when we look at like the full roster of like named characters at the end, Jackie Chan is a martial artist. Jade would be a rogue.
Right.
They have two wizards.
Uncle would be a wizard for sure.
And then they have like the luchador guy is like a fighter barbarian. They get like a literal like Catwoman femme fatale thief who joins up at one point. And there you go, you got your full party. Like, oh man, Wizard of Jackie Chan Adventures is so funny because your wizard is so shitty compared to a D&D wizard. Like your wizard just sucks. You're like, oh. I think that'd be hilarious, by the way, to deliberately make wizards actually have magic, but mechanically be the worst class. And you're allowed guns, which is nice. Like, I think I literally have in the rulebook for Jackie Chan Adventures TTRPG. Enemies have guns, but bullets never hit anybody. No one gets shot. It just doesn't happen here. So if someone has a gun, use your martial arts to disarm them. And then throw the clip off a cliff, because no one ever hits with a bullet in this. You can shoot a rocket at someone and it'll hit near them.
But yeah, then the players can go around collecting the talismans.
And they're all over so. One of my complaints about the Gate franchises is the cities aren't actually relevant, right? They're kind of like your base loading screen.
Right.
Jackie Chan Adventures plays up the environmental tropes where like if you're in Sweden, you're in a freaking chocolate factory fighting these things. If you're in Canada, you're at the Calgary Stampede specifically. Like it uses its setting and weaves it into the adventure.
Right.
Like if you're in New York, you're gonna be fighting on the Empire State Building.
Or if you're in Paris, you'll fight in the Eiffel Tower.
If you're in Vegas, you have to have a high stakes Casino Royale heist and poker match. If you're in Mexico, you're in an underground luchador competition, like.
That's true.
So, like, it uses its setting, where part of my Gate problem is, like, it doesn't. They all end up on Jeju Island.
They do all end up on Jeju Island. That is true.
Cool. That's why I said earlier I would kill for Inuyasha as a setting, though. Unique classes, weapons, monsters. The only goal is find the shiny rocks. The villains are also stealing shiny rocks. That's a series where you have, like, full agency, too. You could just be a bastard in a Inuyasha campaign. Do you care about these villagers? Do you really? Are you actually going to solve their problem? Or are you just going to take the jewel shard and then leave the leech monsters to eat them? Like, how many fucks do you actually give?
But so that comes back around to the question. It's like as a as an actual like setting, it's like the Jewel itself is an interesting um, campaign, but it is Inuyasha actually an interesting set?
100%. So Inuyasha is mapped to the Warring States Japan era, occasionally uses
Mm,
historical figures in the background, but almost
okay.
every villain of the week is chunked out of a actual mythological creature tied to that unique setting and feel. Like,
Mm,
the time that Naraku kills a monk to hide within his barrier to create a pit of demons inside the mountain and then eats the mountain and it becomes his body. That's sick.
mm,
Like, there is versions where, like, oh, brainwashed samurai and demon hunters have jumped out to attack you by this ancient tree that's a forest full of moth people.
mm.
Like, there's literally a part where they go to, like, a coastal town where they're bullying the nearby bat demons and they need the bat demon stone. I'm like, no, this is a great setting. Because a lot of it's, like, the geography and the mythology is woven in. Like, the frog who
Mm.
ate people, trapped them in bubbles, and was using them to try and make an artificial jewel shard because his wife burned him with acid. Like, that's good stuff.
Yeah, okay.
So, like, if you're going to use this Japan as a setting, but, like, it's built around folk tales and actual locations.
Mm.
I mean, like, there's a part where they go through, where there's two golems standing in front of a literal gateway to hell, so they can stop halfway there to their dad's funeral, which is his corpse skeleton full of demon vultures. Like, that's a sick environment. That's a sick dungeon.
Fair enough.
Not me hyping up TV's Inuyasha. Me saying that if someone's like, hey, make an Inuyasha TTRPG, I'm like, oh, this is great. Oh, I can do so much with this.
Well, so then, like, if a lot of it is about
It's
the
about the
lore
flavor and
and
function coming
the flavor,
together.
um, how come no one's ever made like just an ancient Greece
They
TTRPG with like the
have an
translucent Parthenon?
asterisk. So first off, it,
Oh,
it does exist. I just haven't looked it up. I'm just certain it does. But also,
okay,
ancient Greek settings. So they did Theros for D&D slash MTG.
okay, yeah,
I'm sure there's probably a straight up Percy Jackson setting. Like,
yeah, okay,
just taking a mythology and making that your TTRPG is a solid tactic, but a lot of them have been slowly canceled or vanished because, like, you gotta do that respectfully and not just make it a bunch of racist tropes.
right,
Like, there's literally, like, Wuxia named TTRPGs, like, Ancient Greece. Also, most Western monsters are just in the Dungeon Master's Guide, right? Like, every single ancient Greek thing has just been thrown in D&D wholesale at this point.
fair enough.
It's not like there aren't unicorns and Pegasuses and things. But yeah, there's literally TTRPGs called Rome, Life and Death, Warlords of Alexander, Omega. Like,
But
yeah,
that's not something
Mythic
that you
Greece,
think
Age of Heroes.
that's not something that you would be interested personally in adapting.
I don't think I could get enough buy-in. Is the problem? Like, so say
Mm,
like
mm,
just declaring Greek mythology as a thing to adapt. Like, yeah, I start with a map of Greece. I look up a bunch of fairy tales. I line them up in different geographic locations in Greece.
mhm.
Like, it's kind of funny that I feel like a lot of that mythology has been so already absorbed that most of it's already in D&D. Like, I would not have to
Right.
add anything to do the Iliad in 5e.
Mm.
Like, I'm pretty sure the Golden Fleece itself is already an item with a stat block. Like, the Iliad is just a D&D campaign.
Fair enough.
So yeah, picking... But remember, though, it kind of skewed a little bit away from the question of adaptation. Because
Right.
taking a physical location and making that into your TTRPG just works, but then you're making the like, that's just the full game then and there. Like,
Right.
if I were to take Canadian mythology and try not to be racist and talk to Indigenous people and First Nations people and get their accounts of their mythology and make it into a TTRPG and it was signed off on, I could just do that. It's not even a thought experiment at that point. You can just do that.
Fair enough.
Like, that's just kind of funny, is I do think, like, if you take British Greek, if you take all the white people and their mythologies
Mhm.
and you put them together, that just makes D&D. That's just what D&D is all the white people
Yeah,
mythology shoved together in a box.
okay.
Just
That
all,
makes sense.
to be fair, D&D literally is just full scale out here taking people's mythology. 1001 Arabian Nights, every monster in that is in 5e already.
Yeah.
So to answer your question of could you just do Rome? Yes. Kind of a boring answer, but yes. You can just take a country's mythology and make a TTRPG. That is where they come from.
But you just don't think that would be a very compelling story because it's been
Oh no,
done.
it's not a compelling episode of Deep Space and Dragons.
Like,
that's just the correct way to do it, which is why it's uninteresting.
Fair enough.
A lot of these anime series do just do that, of take a place's folktale and reimagine it. If I want to look at Inform 7 games that already exist, every public domain story has had someone try and put one together. The Iliad already exists as an Inform 7 game. The sources of the sources are already being used. Is kind of where I was going with that one. Where part of why we're doing anime and TV shows and things was because it'd be harder and have more limitations. It makes it more fun to dissect.
What about, we could go a completely different direction. I mean, the public domain is only the classic Winnie the Pooh, so you can't use the red shirt. But do you think that Winnie the Pooh, the 100-Acre Wood, and all the different characters in it actually has anything that could make a TTRPG?
Yes, with some asterisks. So, life is stressful these days, right? Cozy RPGs exist.
Right.
The way my players have played, I do think it would be not a hard sell to have them play a 1,000-Acre Woods one-shot of trying to get the missing carrot back or whatever it is I do. I don't think I'd have lasting engagement on something like that.
Right.
I think people would get bored of the shtick after a while. But, however, it would run really well for literal children. Use them
right.
The My Little Pony TTRPG exists and is surprisingly mechanically sound.
Huh. Really?
Oh yeah, I ran it for my TTRPG club once. And Critical Role also ran it once as a one-shot, which is funny. So yeah, if the My Little Pony TTRPG exists and the Toon World TTRPG exists, there is absolutely a market for children's media. Winnie the Pooh is a little even low on conflict for that, but 100% it probably exists. Now that I'm saying this out loud.
The Winnie the Pooh TTRPG probably does exist.
Probably. Yeah, here it is. Bramblebreck 2, Tale in the 100-Acre Woods. Huh. Not only that, but itch.io had a Winnie the Pooh TTRPG jam for everyone to make it when it hit public domain. That's fun.
Huh. Well, I mean, that was what made me think about it, is the fact that the original Winnie the Pooh is public domain.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can't really use the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh because that's Disney's proprietary.
Yeah, but there is 10 entries in this Winnie the Pooh TTRPG jam, so there is 10 of them at least that exist from this one source alone. So yes, you can.
But the question is, do you think it would make a good setting?
Here's what would happen with who I am as a person. So would it, like I said, for a one-shot or a few shots or short story arc, yeah, it would make a good setting. It definitely does the job of, there's enough space, you can shape the stakes, you can tell a cozy story. If you're playing for literal children, it'd go over great. However, I would almost immediately end up turning it into Humblewood or Redwall. If it were me writing it, I'm giving them swords. Sorry.
Right. No, that makes sense. Because you're right, there is no conflict in Winnie the Pooh.
So I'm almost... Well, I mean, fighting scariness and getting food, you can get away with it. The smaller player conflicts are fine. I'm just saying that if I were given this project, the temptation to give them swords would be overwhelming. Because that's who I am as a person. So basically, yeah, I would make a Winnie the Pooh TTRPG or a Winnie the Pooh in Form 7 game. I can just do it. I just personally would be like, okay, sure. I'd do it. And I think it'd be a fine product, but I wouldn't be hype about it, you know?
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh is definitely not super culturally relevant anymore.
Sure is fine. Like, I'd rather do Land Before Time if we're playing this game.
Yeah, okay.
If we're taking the beloved childhood thing and making it into a TTRPG, I'm gonna go Land Before Time where things are actually trying to kill and eat you.
Right. And then your goal is to explore the world and find your new home.
Right? Like, that one's solid. Plus, that way someone could tell me the story of their loving dinosaur parents and I could brutally murder them in front of them.
Oh, no.
So,
yeah.
like, there's where my interest lies. Winnie the Pooh's a little too optimistic, but, like, give me a Land Before Time or give me a 5-0 Goes West. I could do some work with that. I need traumatic
it would have to be
childhood
specifically 5 Goes West. I don't think the original American Tale has enough there to... I mean, maybe it does, but
yeah, if I make
5 Goes West would be a better one.
Basically, if I'm adapting a kid's classic, consequences need to matter, and I need a way to just kill my players. Like, I need them to have the risk of death. I'm not saying I'm murdering them in the Land Before Time, but I need them to think I'm gonna. It's important for making narrative stress and stakes.
Okay.
But we're getting near the end of our episode, so my takeaway from this is Richard hates Portal animes, and almost out of principle refuses to even entertain the idea of making one.
Right.
Large, well-written fantasy settings turn just into Daggerheart or 5e on their own, like Legend of Legendary Heroes, Heroic Legend of Arslan, just work.
Right.
Shocking nobody. Super classics like Full Metal Alchemist would work great. But I think my big takeaway from this conversation is that the player needs to be able to change the world in the setting for it to work. And no matter what your genre is, if your story is too linear and like your setting requires the story to be linear, it won't adapt nicely.
Right.
One Piece works great, except you can't end it because you don't know what the One Piece is, and I guess you just have to make it up at the end.
Right.
Because even
the
if
One Piece is a bathing suit.
Probably, or it's a rock with the word friendship on it, and the One Piece was the friends you made along the way. Like, Naruto works better as a setting if it happens before the story of Naruto.
I agree.
Bleach would require jumping through some hoops to make it work.
Yeah.
I know this is going to reopen the conversation, but what do you think about Yu-Gi-Oh? But there is no card game rules, you're just rolling dice to see who wins the card game. And you're using the setting. Yeah. So, like, you're using the setting of you're running around like Yu-Gi-Oh, but you're running around challenging people game. No, I don't think Yu-Gi-Oh would work. I'm kiboshing my own idea mid-sentence, but I'm curious your thoughts.
Well, so I don't really think it would work very well either. Season 0 would work a little bit better because the games were more unhinged.
I think the problem with Yu-Gi-Oh is he has a party, and they don't party. It's a solo activity.
Yeah, they definitely, even when they are partying together, they're just standing there on the side. You can do it!
I believe
in the heart of the cards!
Yeah. And then Ghost in the Shell's getting its own TTRPG, and it's cool. I mean, like, cyberpunk style RPG / literal cyberpunk RPG is just super obvious setting. Super easy to, like, mechanicize and build that. But yeah. So my summary is pretty much, you want a setting that gives your players enough agency to affect the story. And a lot of things are weaving around a protagonist too hard for you to really be able to do that. And
Yeah.
also, give me a world someone's actually made, damn it. Like, I could do Hunter x Hunter, but I wouldn't even do the story beats of Hunter x Hunter. Like,
Right.
I would have to just invent the world around it. Full Metal Alchemist basically comes pre-made in a tin. Full Metal Alchemist world is so deep and good, you could run a campaign while the story of Full Metal Alchemist is going and have enough stuff to do you would never meet the main characters.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, man, Inuyasha's Villain of the Week format's actually perfect, quite frankly. Like, I've been wanting someone to ask me to run them in Inuyasha campaign. I'm like, oh, I have so many... Like, I have a campaign frame called Feudal Fairy Tale already written up for Daggerheart.
Yeah.
Like, I'm ready to go if someone was like, want to run an Inuyasha. The big mechanic I'm having is instead of, like, picking an ancestry... So you know how there's... Daggerheart has the combined ancestry? Where you can pick the top line of one and the bottom for another? My mechanic is make a demon... Pick 2 traits and describe what kind of half-demon you are. So, like, instead of being, oh, I'm a ribbit, you have to be like, okay, I have frog tongue and dragon scales. Cool, describe what your creature is. So I kind of reverse engineer it. Because, let's be honest, no one's playing a human in Inuyasha. No. Maybe one dude. Probably an NPC. Everyone's demon or half-demon. Oh, my options are I could be a silver-haired one-armed person with demon claws that turns into a giant wolf, or I could be a high schooler. Pfft, that's not a fair... Oh, also, I'm just pulling the Ikasai out of Inuyasha if I'm running it as a setting. Just not doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Just not do it. No reason. Don't need that. The reason you do an Ikasai for a show like that is to have someone to explain the setting to early on. That was it. That was the point.
Yes, it's the fish out of water thing.
Although they did let her bring stuff. In Inuyasha's defense, she does mace a bitch and ride around on a bike. No need for that, though. I do think it's more compelling. Be like, here's your table, build your half-demon. Especially like the plot hook of if you assemble the full jewel, you can be a full demon or a human or do what you want with it.
Right.
I do enjoy having Inuyasha's party running around as NPCs, and then you're like, nah, fuck you guys.
We're not going to give you our piece of the jewel.
Screw you.
We got to run fast.
That's actually kind of great of an idea that like they're a recurring antagonist as well because they're also collecting it. Who do you think the players would hate more, running into Naraku or running into Inuyasha? Like Moroku's such an asshole where it's like, yeah, everyone within a 30-foot cone gets sucked in and dies. Like, oh shit, run.
The party would eventually figure out the Naraku tactic of just throwing poison at him.
I like the party metagaming to get themselves cursed wasps to throw at Moroku specifically is funny. I also enjoy putting in a metagaming mechanic where if anyone wants to metagame, I'm like roll a knowledge check to let you know how much your character knows of this lore that you know. But yeah, after the end of this conversation, if I were to say, hey Carl, here's $100, I need you to make a Daggerheart campaign frame for one of these settings, what would you pick? And why is it Jackie Chan Adventures?
I probably would pick Jackie Chan Adventures. I love Jackie Chan Adventures, and it has a huge amount of potential. Uses the variety of locations, gives people interesting superpowers and interactions, gives villains and players interesting motivations for what they're trying to do and how they're trying to achieve it.
Sometimes just money.
Yeah. Jackie Chan Adventures is probably the most interesting property, which, I mean, the idea that there is no Jackie Chan Adventures TTRPG strikes me as a little bit like,
there might be.
Probably exists if you look for it.
Well, it's kind of funny, like, if I were to do it in Daggerheart, I think the custom rules I would add I'd add in the 12 talismans. And I'd make it that all characters can choose to exit the scene, risk it all, or Blaze of Glory, so that way the villains just exit the scene as much as the players do and come back later. And I love the point being like, this setting doesn't have guns because guns are not cool. And that's the entire explanation. You don't get guns. No, no, no. You don't get guns, and most enemies just opt to leave the scene when you knock them out. Or shadow demons that
Yeah.
poof away.
Yeah, I do think that would be pretty great.
Also, it goes without saying, because there's like 30 fan makes of these, Pokemon works great. Like, I really briefly touched on the Digimon premise of you're just in a strange world with your animal companion going on adventures. Yeah, that works great. It's open-ended enough. In Pokemon, what I would do, though, for TTRPG is I'd probably make it that you get 6 Pokemon across your team, so that way it's like less bogged down.
Yeah, that would make sense.
But yeah, you could just... I'm not surprised people are running Pokemon TTRPG campaigns. It feels almost too obvious. And I ain't doing Minecraft.
Though there's nothing there. Well, I mean, there is something there, but it's not.
I watched the Minecraft movie. I know how this campaign would go. I'm vetoing that.
Yeah. I agree.
Yep. All right, random question time.
So was that whole monologue just time for you to find the random question?
Oh, no, I didn't even start looking yet for my random question folder. And I moved some files around earlier.
We are approaching the end of our episode, but we need to rant for another 10 minutes before we look for the random question.
I like this topic. I think it's neat.
It is a fun topic.
Let's see.
I mean,
So, today's random question, which is kind of a little on the bland side, but they can't all be winners. Shout out for being entered into the contest. What emoji do you use the most?
So, full disclosure, I am Caucasian.
Oh, no.
But I find it really, really funny that you can select the skin tone of your thumbs up emoji. So I almost always send people a black thumbs up emoji just
That
because I
is
think
racist.
it's
You're doing blackface. Stop doing that. That's bad.
fun. They let me choose.
Well, they're not going to have you take a selfie and it scans your skin tone to unlock emojis yet. That feels like a thing they would do to fight racism.
That feels like dystopian, almost racism on its own.
Yeah, I fully believe they'll do this technology where you hold up your phone and it scans and comes up like a hex code for your average, and that gives you only access to those emojis. So that way your phone company maps your exact skin tone for emoji usage. And people will
Just
say like...
for emoji usage.
And yeah,
not for statistical advertising purposes.
Oh, not at all. And I'm sure that, like, I can see this happening. That's the word. Like, I think we could go on Shark Tank with this idea and get a grant. Like, this is one of those ideas that people say is awesome for some reason because no one wants to point out how stupid it is.
Also, so the actual emoji I probably use the most is the kissy face emoji because I send my fiance kissy faces all the time. At least 8 per text message.
I do a lot of winky faces, but I also do a lot of just typing XD for my face is laughing so hard that I can't even emoji it. I think that's probably my most common one. Because I want to be very clear when I'm being satirical that I'm being satirical, because sometimes people believe me, and that's a huge problem. So I have to be very clear in my nonverbal communications that I'm being sassy.
Yeah.
And let's see if we got another one. Just checking my class. One of my many Discord servers occasionally will have questions in it.
All right.
Do.
Just as a random side note, though, you're not allowed to choose the skin tone of your kissy face emoji.
That's somehow worse. I don't know. Like, my thing with this emoji choosing is it was yellow. Like, this was a solved problem. Unless you have jaundice, you were not represented as a Simpsons yellow. It's like, no. To be more inclusive, let's make it that people are broken into specific shades. Let's see. I think my final question... let's see. I think that was it. We only had the one question this week. People need to pay more attention to our podcast.
Well, I mean, it would help if we didn't have technical issues 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah. But really, it's their fault for not appreciating us enough. Let's be very clear. So thank you all for tuning into this Ramble Fest, where I basically just like, Carl, your ideas are dumb for 2 hours straight. Some reason you made it to the end. Congratulations, you deserve a treat. I recommend a McFlurry. I'm not sponsored by them. I just want one right now.
Oh man, I haven't had a McFlurry in a long time.
Right?
Whenever my fiance says to go for ice cream, we always go to Dairy Queen or Sailor Dan's, the local ice cream store.
You know, almost every restaurant on Earth was within 10 minutes of me except Dairy Queen for some reason.
Huh.
It's kind of baffling. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.